We have a fresh meme hot off of the press. In the morning, we got Xi Jinping looking at cakes. It's a good photo to stream us into the weekend. My favorite part is this. Dude is uh dude is trying to hold his laughter. Dude, the direct view of the cake, man. I'm sorry I can't find a HD photo of this, but I found it hilarious. There's a lot of different ones too. There's like these sweet rolls that looks like those sticky rice things. I don't know what they're called, but it's a Middle Eastern and Chinese dessert. We got all kinds of different little dessert there. We got some bananas. Is that bananas or is that something else? She's favorite pastime. It's the it's the honey bear diet. You guys can see I hung up my Winnie the Pooh costume in the background. Third aircraft carrier to be commissioned. Okay, so this is the Fujian Fujian Type 3 aircraft carrier, the first to feature the electromagnetic pulse for aircraft launch. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I noticed something pretty interesting. Now, so Xi Jinping went to Hainan, which is the island province in southern China, to launch this commission the aircraft carrier, basically, right? So here you see you got a bunch of people clapping, whatnot, and she's showing up. He's doing the tour, and look at this. It's a pretty big. It's a massive number of troops. You know, you got the aircraft carrier, you got the stage, right? For the context, what this aircraft carrier means to Xi Jinping personally is it's literally the equivalent to his own legacy as the CCP leader. The reason is it's called Fujian, right? Fujian aircraft carrier. The reason it's called Fujian is because Fujian is the province closest to, I will show you, Fujian province. So Fujian is the province closest to Taiwan. In that sense, Fujian is the most important province for the invasion of Taiwan, and that's why one of the reasons why the aircraft carrier is called Fujian, but also because Xi Jinping was essentially he made his political career in the province of Fujian. So there's a double meaning to his legacy here. And also because Fujian is the key to, I guess you would say, to compete against the United States naval superiority or naval projection of power, which is through the carrier strike groups, right? So the Chinese answer to that is the Fujian aircraft carrier. So there's three levels of significance to the Fujian carrier, which is that it's Xi Jinping's own legacy, his political legacy, his military legacy, but also it's the actual like military technology to compete against the United States. Provided, obviously, there's a lot of issues with electromagnetic catapults right now, and like even the U.S. is moving back to steam. But so here's the interesting thing, right? So see how like okay, whatever, like dude is celebrating. He gets handed a flag. He always just looks like some guy who's tired of things, right? He legit looks like he doesn't want to be there. Like he always just looks like he's like whatever, dude. Like it's a waste of time. Like, he gets handed a flag. Everything goes well. Notice who's missing from here. So normally the guy that is supposed to be here is the vice chair of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Youxia. The reason is Zhang Youxia is there's two vice chairs, right? One is responsible for the political stuff. The other one is responsible for the military stuff. Zhang Youxia is responsible for the military stuff. So he should have been here, but he's missing. You probably won't ever see them in the same event ever again. But that's just one of the points that's interesting. But dude looks like he's just tired of showing up to things. He's like always like, why am I here? What am I doing? The aircraft carrier is the ship. Yes. Okay. So that's this one, right? And then later he goes and he tours the aircraft carrier. He gets a demonstration of how the aircraft launch works. He meets all these people in different vests. That's pretty standard stuff, right? This is nothing new. And then he points at things. Xi Jinping loves to point at things. He signs a bunch of stuff. And then they demonstrate how the launch system works. So you have the little dugout thing that opens up, and then he presses a button. Obviously, there's no aircraft attached to the system because what if it messes up? But that's the electromagnetic catapult. And then you see the chow hall. You get all the food, all the desserts. Very lovely. Very nice. And bunk beds and all these things. Okay, so this is the newest video, right? This is from November 5th. The strange thing is that he did this on the 5th of November, which is 2 days ago. But the news about this didn't get released until 2 days later, which is already a weird thing because this is again the legacy of Xi Jinping, the most important military weaponry or military system for the Chinese military, and yet it does not get reported on the first day, like immediately after this happened. Yet it's delayed for 2 days. It's already out of the ordinary. But then if you compare it to the last aircraft launch, which Xi Jinping also presided over, this was back in 2019. Okay, so this is the Shandong, right? The second aircraft, the first domestic-made aircraft carrier that was commissioned in and launched in 2019. Okay, so in this one, I'll show you a photo shot. The scale and the ceremony was already much bigger than the first one. You know, they had way more people here. Hold up. Let me see. Way more people here. They had different people. They got the workers. They got the people in suits. They got the sailors. They have everybody here. And they got like, look how many people there are. Look at the shot, right? This is like a huge deal because it was the first domestically made aircraft carrier. You got so many more people compared to this year. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I want to get a faux shot of this. Okay. This is the number of people that showed up this year. Okay. Not just one squad, right? Just one squad. Okay. That's it. This is the shot from the last time, which is 2019. Way more people already. Like, it just looks like a huge thing, right? It's a huge ceremony. So, and also Zhang Youxia was here the last time they accompanied Xi Jinping. He's talking to all these people. He's signing photos. Oh, look at this scene. Huge number of officials, workers, sailors, soldiers waiting for him to arrive, right? In this one, he didn't even do that. Like, there was no major tour, nothing of that sort. He didn't shake anybody's hand. There was like no grand reception. He just left. So that's already really strange because, you know, this is the boat that's tied to his legacy. The last one is it's basically, you know, it's already been in the works. You know, he's got like a huge reception. He got all these people here, right? Everybody was like, wow, look, it's Chairman Xi. People be loving him, you know? Was there a crack on the deck? It could be possible that it's AI generated. Okay, now compare that to 2012 when the first Chinese aircraft carrier was launched in a major celebration, right? This one was, they essentially took a Ukrainian battle cruiser and used like the body of it to like remade it into an aircraft carrier. It's called the Liaoning. So, you know, you got the chairman coming, you got like all the seats and desks set up. The premier is here. You have the vice chairs of the military. You look at the size of this crowd, man. Look, like, that's a huge number of people. That's a huge crowd. Okay, that's 2012. You know, they got the flag raising, they got all the workers, they got everybody, right? Like, that whole thing is a grand ceremony. That's how it's supposed to be for them. So both of the Central Military Commission vice chairs are there. He goes up to the ship, inspects the troops, like meets everybody. Like, so this is a big thing. And then they do once again, they do that major meet and greet, right? There's all the officials, they got all the sailors, all the soldiers there, generals and everybody. You know, as the CCP chairman, you meet all these people and you take photos and stuff. And then this time, so Xi Jinping did that in 2019, and then this time he just left. Like, dude just left the freaking ceremony. So if anything, to me, it felt like this was just like he's being a sideline. It's like it felt like he doesn't even want to be there because he knows that this isn't important anymore. One of the reasons I could think of why it's because, well, they don't want to upplay or to dramatize his legacy anymore. I still believe that she has lost the power of the military, so they don't want this type of thing to be tied to his legacy. So, like, this is actually really strange because if Xi Jinping was fully in power, if anything, this time the celebration should be the biggest of it all, because this is literally the next step in the competition against the United States. It's like he knows his era is coming to an end. Yeah, I think so. Maybe they're on a Zoom call. So the fact that Zhang Youxia doesn't show up, I think, speaks volume because Zhang Youxia is supposed to be the one who is supposed to host this stuff, right? Maybe his health isn't the best. He cannot do long events. Even if he cannot do long events, he should still have the scale of the event be as grand as possible, right? Because if you compare this shot here, which is, this one formation, and where's all the other people, right? It's like, don't tell me that because it's on an island, they can't find people. Like, that's not how the CCP works. They're all about the image, right? And then even compared to himself I want to get a full shot if I can. Yeah. Okay. Even compared to this one here, this is the one back in 2019. It's a bigger crowd compared to this. Like, this is pretty small, right? Back then, it was a huge crowd. It's in the same harbor that they did this. So how come he suddenly wanted less people to be there? That doesn't make sense, right? You have way more people than this. So I don't know. What do you guys think? He's gained decreased respect. I don't think the thing is it's even if he lost respect, I think he would still have a at least a superficial, ceremonial type of weight, right? But it just looks like right now they don't even want to entertain exposure for him. Yeah, dude. Okay, so competing against the United States, whether that's effective or not, that's a whole other conversation. But right now, the point is that it's this is his legacy, right? And if you know anything about these weird dictators, legacy seems to be the only thing that they care about, which actually is one of the reasons why he wants to invade Taiwan, anyways, because he wants to be bigger than Mao or bigger than all the previous CCP leaders. So the secretary of the Xi'an Municipal Party Committee is under investigation. He is Xi Jinping's former schoolmate, classmate, I believe. He's also from the same hometown as Xi Jinping. So these two are very close. Him being under investigation, again, it's to me at least, is a sign that Xi has lost control, because all of his loyal people are being investigated for corruption. And again, people that say, well, look, this could be that Xi doesn't trust him. But again, like, these people have known Xi Jinping for decades. If Xi doesn't trust him, he wouldn't have been promoted in this first place. So the fact that you promote somebody for so long, you got them into certain positions. This guy was ready to join the party standing committee in the 21st Party Congress, so within 2 years or so. Suddenly being investigated doesn't, to me at least, doesn't seem like a good sign for Xi's power. But that's, again, if you believe that Xi has lost control, this might be something that you would agree with. But if you don't believe it, then this might not seem like, it might just be an excuse that Xi Jinping has become Stalin. You know, Ellen says, like your video and watch them a lot. Never seen your live before. How are you? I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. How are you doing? Fung about to get Thanos. Yeah, he's already been Thanos, man. This doesn't mean they both have fifth grade education. You're absolutely correct. No, I think this guy, I think he met him in his, like, when she got an honorary degree from Tsinghua University. Have you seen the video where the girl is asking Yu Malone to run and try to help him? I explained it today. I think that video is fake, man. But why make big men scream like that? So painful. Rumors that China organ harvesting do without anesthesia. Yeah, some of them don't use anesthesia. Does it mean that Xi Jinping would be affected by this investigation then? I mean, they're related. Possibly. Yo, David, I always wondered, do you live in the US? I was worried about your safety sometimes. I do. No, I don't think the former agro minister is sentenced to death related to these political situations. Ted says, "Hey David, been following for a while and like your content. Just curious, did you study politics or were a journalist? You seem super informed on Chinese politics. I just got very interested. I'm very into the. I feel like you read a lot of stuff and then you start to kind of get a good sense of what's going on. And also because I was born in China, so I know some of the stuff is very true, and I have good sources of people to talk to about certain things. But honestly, like half of the stuff that you read about the CCP, it's really not hard to understand. It's just it might seem like I know what I'm talking about. It's because I can read Chinese, and once you can read Chinese, you understand a lot of the wordings, the context, and the hidden sort of reasonings behind those words, and then you start to kind of form a way to analyze things. I proudly wear some of your shirts in public. Thank you very much, Cyanic Spectre. Thank you very much. I guess whoever controls the military pretty much is the strongest figure. It's basically whoever controls the military actually controls the CCP. And what they don't want to have is people that are, let's say, if people are seeing that, let's say Xi Jinping right now has three titles, right? He's the chairman, he's the CCP general secretary, and he's also the president of the PRC. On the surface, most people would think that look, Xi Jinping is in control, but he's not the first person who have been stripped of power, excuse me, but remain in control. A great example is this guy. So this is Hua Guofeng. He was the same. He was in the same position as Xi Jinping before Deng Xiaoping came into power. So Hua Guofeng was the chairman of the Communist Party, and then he was also the chairman of the military of the CCP, so the PLA. And then within 2 years' time, he was stripped of his power. He was rendered a figurehead by Deng Xiaoping, and nobody had known about this for 2.5 years, basically, until the one day that he says, "I'm resigning from my party positions and retiring," essentially. That's when people found out, oh, look, dang, this guy has lost power for 2 years and we didn't even know about it. But once he did, then people are like, dang, like this guy, we thought he was in control, but he's not anymore. So I think she's in the similar position in the sense that like they're keeping him on as the figurehead, right? But he's no longer in control. Because if you really look at the recent changes in the actions and the wordings of the Chinese government, like they've given up on this wolf warrior diplomacy, right? They're no longer as aggressive. They're reducing their buying of Russian oil. They're continuing with some of the Trump tariffs, the soybean buying, stopping the rare earth minerals, and then they're also at the same time telling Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, that China and the U.S. can work together to maintain peace in the region. So by all measures, whether we like it or not, the CCP is in a mode of survival. And this is very unlike Xi Jinping, because Xi Jinping, his whole thing is about aggression, right? Aggressive to Taiwanese, aggressive to the Philippines, aggressive to the West, allying with Russia, allying with Iran, North Korea, etc. Right? And now they've gone a 180, and they've gone back on some of those policies, and that's one of the, I think, major indicator to me that something has changed within the CCP. If he did step down within the party, how long would it take until someone comes in to take his position publicly? What would the party entertain him saving face to the public? Oh, sorry. Why would the party entertain him saving face to the public? So, Hush, this is the most important question anybody could ask right now. You're absolutely on the dot for this. Okay, so when somebody steps down, how long would it take for him to get replaced? The issue right now is that Xi Jinping has caused so much problems within the CCP that he has alienated the world from China, that the fundamental interest of the CCP officials have been harmed in the process. Domestically, he's also done terrible with the economy. Nobody dares to take over from him. Because imagine, okay, so let's say you work for a Fortune 500 company. Let's just use the example of, say, Facebook, okay? So suddenly, let's imagine hypothetically that Mark Zuckerberg randomly decided to screw the company over. The board votes to kick him out. And then, the company's in shambles. People are not using Facebook. People are not using Instagram or WhatsApp anymore. You, as the next guy, the CEO, comes in. What are you supposed to do? How do you repair the damage? Imagine if those damage are so fundamental that it's like irreparable. Then that's basically the situation of China right now. So nobody really can come in and take on those problems because they're so deep and fundamental, like the birthing rate issues. The overall view of China, the lack of trust for the Chinese investments. So all of these issues are fundamental issues. They're not going to be solved by switching a leader. The second part of your question is also important. Why would the party entertain him saving face to the public? Because one of the issue is that the CCP is all about unity, right? It's all about stability. If anything happens within the party and it's known to the public, it becomes a huge issue of their legitimacy, because the CCP is built on the idea that everything they do is perfect, everything they do is divinely arranged, everything they do is within the mandate of the Chinese people. So imagine if you built this guy up, Xi Jinping, over the last decade or more to be the perfect leader. And then suddenly they're like, oh, oops, we kicked this guy out because he was having problems. That alone discredits the entire party and their narrative of a perfect, unified China so much that they simply cannot afford to have that. Let's just put it that way. As much as dumb as it sounds, that's pretty much one of the main reasons. Another reason is actually the U.S. So the CCP views the United States as 80% of their foreign policy efforts. If they cannot handle the U.S. properly, it is a survival, existential crisis to the CCP. So again, because Trump was supposed to meet with Xi, or supposedly they were supposed to meet, it was still undecided until a few days before that. But at that point, if Xi was announced to be stepping down, then who exactly is Trump going to talk to? And if you can't, at those turbulent times, get the U.S. to calm down or be like, what's going on here? Am I going to sanction you, or am I going to not sanction you? So somebody had to talk to Trump, and apparently Trump is Xi's best friend, and that's why I think they're keeping him, because it just doesn't make sense for people to be discredited within China, the party that is, at the time being.